I saw a video and I was like, what do you mean by this, right? Like, it's Pokemon Champions would be worse than Pokemon Showdown. And I was confused because I'm like, I don't know what we're expecting here. But then there's another one saying like, will Pokemon Champions replace Showdown? I don't think that's, I don't know. Let's see what this is about. Leave a like. The original video in the description section below. You guys gonna be liking these little reactions, and I'll be real with you all. I'm really just doing them. That I see a lot of these videos, and I kind of just be like, oh, like, you know, let's. It'd be cool if I watched them, but I'm like, I don't want to, you know. But matter of fact, while I'm here, hold on now, lady. Come on, leave a like on the video. Then you watched it. You know, make sure you support the economy, right? Leave a like on this video, and then go in the description and leave a like on that video. Anything that's being set up in here, comment. Whether you agree with her, him, they, you know, or you, whatever. Let's just go. Let's see what happens here.
27th, Pokemon Champions was announced for the first time.
Yeah.
However, around 2 weeks ago, we got a new trailer with new information, which was huge for the unemployed people like me. However, as I saw the trailer, I started to get fairly alarmed and disappointed as it started to see more and more of what Champions would be like. A new game made by a billion-dollar company that was paling in comparison to a Pokemon Showdown game made by Guangkong Luao, a dual CS and math major who decided one day to make a simulator that would improve competitive Pokemon forever, and is also the cause of me canceling plans so that I could play stall on the ladder. So we're going to go over the flaws in Pokemon Champions and what they could learn from Pokemon.
What just happened? Huh? We're back. My
The
fault.
whole point of Pokemon Champions is to make competitive Pokemon more accessible.
Right.
Specifically, VGC and the singles format bring 6 choose 3. And don't get me wrong, Pokemon Champions does that. The fact that you can adjust the stats via sliders and recruit Pokemon is a lot better. But also, the bar to entry was so high for VGC that in return, the bar for any sort of improvement was also very low. So that brings us back to Pokemon Champions' concept of recruit Pokemon. It's exactly what it sounds like. See, there will be an in-game currency called victory points.
Yeah.
You get those points primarily by winning battles, which means that, yet again, building a team isn't exactly as simple as just getting an idea for a team and looking at the Pokemon by name and adding him. If you don't already have that Pokemon in home, you need to buy it via victory points, or you can get it for free for one day by recruiting a Pokemon. However, you are limited to one trial run a day, and if you waste it, you'll have to wait another 24 hours. The trial Pokemon, from my interpretation, however, don't seem to be customizable neither IV-wise or moveset-wise. As the official website states, you can even alter their abilities and moves, customize your team to match your battling style. Though remember, you can't train Pokemon
During a
trial.
Whoa,
recruitment. Now, don't get
really?
me wrong. This won't be pay to win, since that defeats the purpose of competitive Pokemon. And Nintendo isn't that dumb, I think. But I feel like adding in a game currency just to get Pokemon on your team kind of defeats the purpose of making it more accessible. I also don't know if different Pokemon will be different amounts of victory points, but if they do, that would be infuriating. As in, imagine that you are building a team and you want a Garchomp that's potentially, let's say, 1,500 victory points, but you only have 1,000, so you can't get him and you can only get a Flygon. That would be terrible. Also, you should subscribe because if you don't, Nintendo will actually make a Mega Incineroar with pure power, magic card, and every single ability together with a 2,000 base stat total. I know because my uncle is actually Kensugi Mori. However, that is hypothetical, something we don't know is going to happen. So let's move on to something we know is factual, which is that not only does it cost victory points to get a new Pokemon, but it also costs victory points to get new moves and abilities. As you can see, here Trace cost 400 victory points, and Psychic cost 100 victory points.
Whoa. You have to pay VP for the nature. You have to pay for the slide. You have to pay for the moves. So even if you did make a team, you still are going to end up being short for your trial. So it's like, at this point, you're better off just saying screw it and spend the rest of your life in Scarlet and Violet preparing for this game and just like transferring over everything that the game has to offer at this point. Cause that's genuinely insane. I thought like it was gonna be just like, hey, you can like, you know, the currency was for the trial and the actual stats. I didn't know the moves. I just thought like the moves were like, oh, because you have the Pokemon, you can just put whatever move is in their move pool on the Pokemon because, you know, you have the Mon already. You having the Mon should be enough, right? But no, you get the Pokemon, which if you don't have, you have to trial it. So trials are like, who knows, they're like 15, 2,000, 3,000. Some Pokemon might be more than the other ones, right? And to even like, you can't even customize, like you'll never see this training screen on the trial Pokemon, but on your Pokemon and whatever you get in the game or whatever you buy permanently in the game, you will be able to do, you will see this, which is interesting. It's So
And 64 VP per max EV. I don't want to come off as someone who is purely negative. I don't think Champions is a terrible thing. I think it's cool, but I don't understand what the point of it was. If I was a new player and wanted to give my Gyarados Dragon Dance, but I didn't have enough VP and kept losing because I didn't have a good boosting move, I wouldn't really want to continue. The reason Pokemon Showdown, not just the battling aspect, but also the team building experience is so great and fun is because there are literally no limitations. If you are a new player who wants to use your favorite Pokemon, let's say Dragonite, and wants to try out an unorthodox set, go ahead, it's super easy. Just look the move by name and you got it. If you want a set that is proven to work, import that from Smogon. The bar to entry is not only far lower, but literally non-existent. It's so much lower than Champions, and that's one of the reasons it encourages experimentation. It's so user-friendly that I started playing Showdown when I was around 12, and it was ridiculously intuitive for me as a literal child. So I enjoyed it a lot, and because of that, it feels rather natural to learn. If at that age I had to try out Champions and the game told me that I had to buy new moves, I would have probably gotten frustrated and discouraged. I think this point system de-incentivizes creativity. It makes it harder to actually win battles. If you have a set that's just not working, it takes a very good player to actually win with that set. And if you're an average or below average player, you're going to have a much harder time winning, and therefore won't be able to win more victory points.
And if you ever wanted to like change your set, like let's say you only have the VP for a bad or like a really mediocre set or a mediocre like move pool for a Pokemon. Like let's say like, oh, instead of Psychic, I gotta get like, I don't know, like hopefully not Psywave or Confusion or something like that. And let's say you're low on VP, you would have to like not play the game or not play the online to even get like a whatever. And you have to play the solo player, whatever solo player thing there is, or whatever in-game currency option so you can like grind those up or whatever. And then just be like, hey, I just got done grinding. So imagine like, imagine just dead ass being like, yeah, bro, my Gardevoir is almost done. And you're sitting there just mind-numbingly pressing A because the NPCs and the CPU are garbage. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe there might be like a free battle thing where like, you know, it's not ranked, but it's just there to like have like little like whatever moments where you can do whatever you want up in there. Or maybe just like, you know, you can have your fun and still be able to like farm your points because they never like really say, oh, there's a single player mode. I think there's a single player mode. Is there a single player mode? I have no idea, actually.
And won't be able to change the moves that you need in order to win.
Right.
So in reality, even though you don't use dollars or whatever your country's currency is, it almost feels pay to win because of the victory points. Again, it's not pay to win, but it does feel very grindy.
Hella grindy, yeah.
Team that you actually want to use. I obviously don't know how many victory points you'll get from a battle, so it's completely possible that the amounts are reasonable. But you know what's better than a reasonably priced move?
Free.
A move that is free.
Yeah.
So maybe you want to just transfer from Pokemon Home to not have to grind to get those victory points. But that in turn defeats the purpose of a team builder. I was talking to my best friend about it, and he mentioned how it was a similar problem that he faced when playing the Pokemon TCG game, which I don't play. But he said, and I quote, "There is an in-game currency called trade credits that you can earn by completing daily challenges to go further in a free battle pass. There is no option to pay real money or to unlock a premium version. You use the currency to get individual cards. However, you don't get enough to create every single card that you want, so you have to be extremely careful about budgeting that currency, and if you don't play every day, you can definitely fall behind. That's why I kind of hoard them all until I find a deck that I really love. Now, it is no surprise that 2 Pokemon games made by Nintendo would have.
I want you to know I've never played TCG a day in my life, and all the people that play the game that I know play the game have put money in the game and they've made it back. Like, obviously Kabuki has a TCG account. I know Lotus has a TCG account. Afro literally spent I don't know how much money on every single set that's come out since the game has launched, and I did not know that. Like, hold on, let me show you, let me actually show you what I'm talking about. Where is Pokemon? Do I even have it? I do. It's at the very, very bottom of this whole thing. Look at this, bro. My account, hold on. Can you hurry up? Hold on. I need y'all to understand what's going on right now. Hold on. There's an automatically down. Oh God, I haven't, bro. There's a download for this game. Hold on. The last time I played this game, I think was the moment the game came out. And I think that like my friends were gassing it up, my boy Zatu and my boy Ben. I was sitting there, I was just like, what is this all about? And I want you to know, hold on, let me go ahead and do this. You get a booster. So, okay, so I think what's the word? It reminds me of like Pokemon Unite, where like when you sign on and you log in, you get like these free summons, free pulls. You get these free things you can do. So like obviously right here, you know, you have like, I'm level 9. Ooh, I never played a battle in my life, by the way. I literally got on here just to like pull from stuff. I don't even have Wonder Pick. What's up? I'm sorry. Why am I playing this? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We gotta get to the third. So is the in-game currency the summoning things that you're talking about, or is it like an actual like? Because like, let's say for instance, like let's say like, you know, you have to save or you have to like, you know, I don't know. I don't know this game like that, to be honest with you. But it reminds me of like, hold on, can I turn this off, please? Jesus Christ. It reminds me of how like in Pokemon Unite, you'll get like, and this is the problem with Pokemon and their like spin-off titles and their mobile games specifically, but like you'll get this like this almost fake free shit. Like it's like, oh hey, here's this like, you know, here's these daily login bonuses, and it's literally like not even worth a penny of what it would cost if you actually got something. Like I know a lot of people like still talk about like the items and the emblems being like pay to win in Pokemon Unite. So it's damn near the exact same thing, where it's like you have to like do so much grinding just to get like a day's worth of something, just for it to not even be enough to fully maximize an item or fully maximize an emblem. You have to just sit there and just play the game non-stop, and nobody has the time for that. It's hella grindy on purpose because they want you to put your money on it. I don't know if they're gonna have microtransactions in Pokemon Champions, but if they do, and Pokemon Home is what, $10, $5, that would be insane, bro. That would be genuinely crazy, because imagine that, right? You're paying $8 or $4 or $3 for Pokemon Home. Pokemon Champions has a microtransaction system or whatever, and then out of nowhere, here's the $80 Pokemon game that we're gonna update the game with, so you can just import the models over. That's not crazy. That's not nuts. That's not crazy. But obviously we don't know anything about the game, because this game might not even come out to like 2026, to like January 2026 or February 2026. No, it will be January, because it'll come out. It'll be rough as hell, and then out of nowhere, like, okay, cool, we're done, and then we get the Generation 10 or the Gen 5 remix or whatever, and that'd be cool, you know? But whatever.
Have the same problem. Going back to Champions, I think that this dude on Reddit phrased it very well. He said, and I quote, "I'd rather just play Showdown than grind currency to play with the team that I want." So far,
basically,
that's my biggest gripe. I feel like they had the correct idea, but had to overcomplicate things. I don't see the point in the victory point system. I am in no way speaking for
Okay, so I have a question. I have a question, because I have a question for anybody watching this video, and then I guess if the person that made this video ever like watches this, right? If the Pokemon were free, right? If this was like almost like a Battle Revolutions kind of thing, where they had the little rental teams or whatever, and you can go through the story mode or whatever, little solo player mode or whatever with those rental teams or those rental mons or whatever mons you brought over through Pokemon Home, and you'll get those points, and you can put those points on online or on whatever free battle they have. Would that be better? Or does Pokemon and this goes to anybody, right? Is Pokemon Champions a game that if it was free for the Pokemon, is it a game you're willing to spend $80 on? Or are you willing to have filled with microtransactions? Is it, because your answer is, because in my opinion, everybody's answer should be no, but I feel like what would be the solution to this if not just straight up copying Showdown? Because Showdown's big appeal is the fact that, like, you know, it's a browser game first and foremost. I don't know who just subscribed, thank you. It's a browser game first and foremost. It's free second. And then, you know, it's almost like a competitive archive, right? Where, like, even if you weren't around for the Generation 1 or Generation 2 meta games, you can still go back and play those games. This is not that, right? This obviously is not that, right? Because they don't even... Pokemon's competitive scene was more fan-made up until, like, the third generation. So, like, what would be the answer to that? And is this game... Does Pokemon Champions so far... Does this game look like a game that you're willing to put $80 behind, or you're willing to put like $5 or $10 in maybe every month? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe, like, you know, I guess just at the very beginning so you can get like your static team or whatever Pokemon you want to get or whatever, and then like you'll just buy like or battle pass it. Like, is this a game that's worth it? The answer should be no. But then what would be but then that's what she's saying, right? She's saying, like, this game should not exist because it makes no sense when there's a free version for it. The problem is the casual audience does not know about Pokemon Showdown. I know we live in this echo chamber, this echo bubble that we all, like, you know, we know Pokemon Showdown. If you're on the internet as a Pokemon fan, you know what Pokemon Showdown is. You know what Pokemon Showdown is, right? If you're a Pokemon fan, you know what Pokemon Showdown is. But you're a fan of Pokemon, you probably don't know about Pokemon Showdown. You probably don't know much about Pokemon besides the first original 151, I get Pokemon Go, maybe the TCG, maybe the anime. Like, you don't know about like the online presence that is these games, which is why I think a lot of those, like, those Nuzlocke and those like challenge videos do good, because the greater casual audience of Pokemon has no idea what these things are. You know what I'm saying? So what would be like the answer? Like let's remove Showdown, for example, right? Let's remove Showdown. What would be the answer to make Pokemon Champions better? Because if it was just, hey, here's all 1,000 Pokemon, and then whatever Pokemon that we get access to once Generation 10 comes out, 11, whatever, you know, and it's free, is this game, are you paying $80 for a glorified Pokemon Battle Revolution? I would like to know. I would like to know what the answer would be here, because I don't know, like, what the solution would be if we remove Pokemon Showdown, because they're making this game. I don't want to say they're making this game and Pokemon, they don't know Showdown doesn't exist. Because let's be honest, right? Pokemon Showdown is big as hell, right? What is the reason for this? I can't believe, like, 6 minutes in here and I'm like, oh, I'm just talking my life away. My fault.
Again, this is only me. In a positive note, in terms of battling systems, they're obviously including the normal VZUC format in the 6 Pokemon system that I mentioned, and that I think is really cool. But from my experience being part of the competitive Pokemon community, the biggest pro that is often overlooked that Pokemon Showdown / Smogon has that the official formats aren't even the tools like the damage calcs, for example. It is similar to a democratic system. But in all honesty, when I say democratic, I don't really mean the way we would think of it now. I mean more in like the Athens version of democracy. See, whenever a decision needs to be made, as long as you meet the qualifications for a proper GXC, you can vote alongside the other players, and these votes are organized by the council, a group of people that are not Pokemon executives, but longtime players that love the game and are good at it, so they want a healthy metagame. I'm not saying that every single decision is good, but this is far better than the system that Nintendo has going on. I have a feeling that if you gather some of the most successful VGC players of all time, made them have some semblance of power more than they have now, and allowed players who have participated in VGC tournaments to vote on bans and general decisions, VGC regulations would probably be a lot different. But Nintendo would never give up that type of power to the people.
I was gonna say, that's
Because
never
power creep
happening.
becomes more and more akin to a crushing force that you can't really escape, but you also can't really embrace. It's going to be a problem for anything related to Pokemon that Game Freak decides to launch, whether it's Champions or not. I think that if Nintendo took a page out of Smogon and Showdown and chose players that the VGC community knows, recognizes, and trusts to represent and make choices more important than they do now, it would help Champions a lot, and I hope that they do. I'm aware it seems like I'm being super negative, and I don't mean for that to be the case.
I'm confused because, you know, like, it reminds me of, like, you know how, like, what, like, do they mean, like, oh, things should be banned? Like, just in, like, people should have the choice of what's being banned? Don't, like, Pokemon, like, do, like, a little, I've never played the VGC section of, like, these Pokemon games, I'm gonna say it, right? But I always thought whenever, like, I would see, like, Cerebi post, like, oh, these are the VGC season rules, and you can only use these Pokemon, and only these Pokemon are available. Wouldn't they just be forcing that on the game? Like, it was all, hey, this is this season, and it's on Pokemon Showdown at this day. Like, this is the day where these rules are enforced. These Pokemon are eligible. These ones are not. And then you can just build a team out of the 1,000 that we have. Is that not the same thing? It's not as, like, obviously Pokemon Showdown, right? Where it's the same, like, 4, maybe 10 people discussing votes or whatever. I get that. Like, it's not the same. But, I mean, I also think, like, you know, like she says, like, it's too much power for these people because, like, hey, we love Wolfie, but are we willing to give Wolfie folks control over our seasons? You know what I'm saying? It's like, hold on, let's, you know, we're still big Nintendo. We're still big Game Freak. You feel me? Let's calm it. You know?
It's only that no matter the format, singles or doubles, I think that competitive Pokemon is such an amazing strategy game, and I've always wanted the barrier to entry to be lower for the official format, not just for new players, but for the current vets as well, who I think deserve a break. And while I do think that Champions is a good step forward, I don't see why they couldn't have completely eliminated the point system to experiment with a whole new system that's not holding them back, because the only way to do that was actually via Showdown. Besides that, I think it would be interesting if Pokemon Champions offered the ability to go back and play old regulations in the same way that Showdown allows you to play the old gens 1 through 8. I understand that Nintendo doesn't really have anything to lose from Champions. This is going to be the new way that the official competitive Pokemon is played, not just recreationally, but also in official tournaments, like Worlds. So no matter what is going to happen, it's not going to fail. But for the love of God, what is it with the point system? I'm aware that I'm probably making a bigger deal out of this than most people are.
I think I'm gonna be honest, I would love to see what the Pokemon home numbers look like. Because I agree with some of her points. I think that, like, the barrier to entry is still not where it needs to be as it is in Showdown, but then it's like, okay, cool, how many people have Pokemon home? You know, and are those people willing, are all the same people that have those Pokemon in Pokemon Home willing to put all their Pokemon on Pokemon Champion? You get what I'm saying? Like, especially when VGC is such like a specific sector of the Pokemon zeitgeist. It's like, I kind of understand where her concerns are coming from. I get it, you know?
Because I'm a Showdown player. Even the times that I play VGC, which I don't have nearly as much experience with VGC as I do singles, but the times that I have, I've played via Showdown. If Showdown told me, nope, sorry, you have to give 100 points to give your superior substitute, someone would get shot. I am pulling a Lee Harvey Oswald. We also know that there will be microtransactions. However, people have overall come to the conclusion that it will be for cosmetics, which I do hope it's true, and that this game doesn't turn into Genshin Impact Pokemon Edition. Also, this is obvious, but people are going to be dramatic, so I'm going to say it right now. Pokemon Champions will not replace Showdown. Partly because of all of the reasons that they stated, and thousands more. Showdown will always have an edge over Champions. I don't know much about copyright law or IP laws, but for a long time and still today, Nintendo needed Pokemon Showdown for their VGC players to practice in. Taking it down wasn't really in their best interest. Now, of course, the argument is obviously that now with Champion, Nintendo won't need Showdown and will take it down. Based on what I have said,
I disagree.
I believe that Showdown will still be a prominent place for VGC, and even though Champions hasn't launched yet, it will just take much less effort to build a team.
I agree.
There is absolutely no grind involved. Showdown will always have that over Champions, unless they completely annihilate the point system. Varda entry still isn't low enough to compete with Showdown. I think that sentiment will set in eventually.
Now this is, let's, obviously, we don't know how many points you're gonna get per battle, per victory, per loss, or something like that. Or maybe if you do get points if you lose or something like that. So like, she's not speaking in absolutes, obviously, but she's speaking with what we have so far. It's kind of hard to be like, positive about this, because you see a Pokemon that's worth like 1,000 points, but every time you see a screenshot of the gameplay, it only has like 4,000 or 5,000 points. You know what I'm saying? So like, imagine being like, oh yeah, I got like 20K points right now. I can make my full team if I wanted to, but I got those 20K something points by just importing my home Pokemon over. And maybe that's what they're banking on. Like maybe Pokemon is like, we've hit that part where like it gets predatory to where like we want you to involve yourself in the Pokemon games. Like, you have to buy the new game. You have to buy Pokemon Home. You have to buy Pokemon Champions. And if you buy Pokemon Champions by itself, you damn near like have to play the game excessively in order to be able to compete with the people on ranked that are playing with the rest of the world or the rest of the game. And it's like, damn, like that's dark, because Pokemon used to be like an accessible ass game, but now it's okay, cool, because this is a competitive game that's for competitive battles or whatever. They're creating their own little like universe now, and it's like, all right, can we make the games good, please?
It's also
at least
pretty much never been such a beloved fan project, not only with Pokemon, but with most major franchises. So I think that they are aware that if they do this, there will be an outrage over it, far bigger than anything that they have ever done. And they have done some pretty despicable things. So that, in the combination of the fact that Showdown helps VGC players,
hey, listen,
I think is a fairly good enough.
I'm still Pirate. Never mind, my whole
Showdown to stay around. However, Moon Channel did a great video on this, and specifically the legal aspect. But even without the illegality of it all, for the reasons I cited, it really wouldn't benefit Nintendo.
Right.
Thank you for watching, and feel free to comment your opinion on Showdowns or correct anything.
That was this is a really good video. Shout out to the members. Damn, hold on now. That's almost 6K subscribers with that many members. That's fire. First of all, congratulations. Second of all, listen, hey, this was a really good video. This is a really, really good video. I actually learned a lot, because I was under the assumption that Pokemon Champions was a lot more accessible than it really is, but yeah, I don't know. That was hell. But great video, first and foremost. Go run up her video in the description section below. Give your thoughts, of course, in the comment section, whether it's on her or my video. I don't know. It's whatever. And to be honest with you, wow, that was a good video, bro. That was good.